Hey everybody, welcome back to Knitting Butterflies. My name is Emily, and today I am just excited to show you some of the projects I've been working on, especially during the pandemic. If you don't know me, welcome. I'm Emily. You can find me on Ravelry as Emily Strout or on Instagram as ButterflyEM4. Um, and this is just a channel about the projects that I'm working on with knitting. That's all I show at this point. To start off, you might notice I'm wearing a new sweater today. I finished this sweater 2 days ago. So this is the Swallowtail sweater by Jamie Hoffman, and it is knit out of Suburban Stitcher sock yarn. This color up here is called River's Edge. The light color is Sea Smoke, and then her navy, and then this darker color, this turquoise color that's beautiful, is called Tuva, and I asked her to custom dye this for me for this sweater. So the sweater's all done. I'll back up real quick so that you can see all of it. So this is a stranded colorwork sweater knit in fingering weight from the top down. Has obviously the yoke with the butterfly on it, and then it has a little bit more colorwork on the bottom and on the cuffs. And here's the back. So you can see that. I am so in love with this sweater, like ridiculously in love with this sweater. I have to admit, I was nervous when I was making it that I wasn't going to wear it very much. The work that I'm doing right now, I know I could not wear this to the work that I'm doing right now because the population that I'm working with, I don't think would take me seriously wearing a big old butterfly on my clothes. Maybe they would. They might be just fine with it, but I feel strange working in the work setting that I work in with something like this, but honestly, I find myself wanting to wear it all the time. The yarn weight is perfect. I haven't knit a long sleeve fingering weight sweater, and I've never knit a stranded colorwork sweater in fingering weight either. And it's like the perfect weight. It's so comfortable. The yarn really softened up when I steam blocked it. I haven't wet blocked it yet, and I think that would help the yarn bloom even a little bit more and get even softer. But it's really soft. It's very, very comfortable. And I have to admit, I feel like this is the most perfect sweater I've ever knit, especially for myself. Everything from the pattern to the color choices to the fit is just like it turned out perfect. I knit the fourth size. I think that was a 38-inch bust. I'm not sure. Um, my bust, I knew like I could knit for a 34-inch bust, but my tummy is a little bit bigger. And so I like to go up a size from that to give myself a little bit of extra ease in the waist. And I also opted not to do any of the waist shaping in this. Part of me kind of wishes that I had, and I'll show you again. Like it's straight right now. I feel like if it just kind of like sucked in just a little bit, that would have been nice, like just a tiny bit of waist shaping, but it's so comfortable the way that it is that I feel like it's just fine without the waist shaping. So I'm not disappointed at all. I was a little bit bummed that I didn't do that before I had steam blocked it, and now that I steam block it, I just love how comfortable it is. It just hangs beautifully. Um, the drape on it turned out perfect with the size needles that I was working on. And speaking of needles, I knit the color work in a size 4, and I originally knit about to here with a size 4 on the stockinette because I couldn't find any 3s and I was lazy. And I was trying it on and it was poofing out right here where I switched from the color work into the stockinette. It kind of made like a little bubble. And then I knew that I was going to have more color work on the bottom. So it was going to make this like little bubble right on my tummy. And I felt like that was not going to be flattering at all. So I ripped all of that stockinette out. It only took me a few days to knit it, like maybe 3 days, because I've been sitting next to my 7-year-old while he does online school, while he does school. And so I had a lot of knitting time that I wouldn't normally have. And so I was able to knit it right back up, no problem. And then on one of the sleeves, think it's I think it's this sleeve. I actually can't tell, which is exciting. I knit all of this with one skein of yarn, and then I had about 30 grams, maybe 20 grams of that skein left to do the sleeves. And I wanted to make sure that I alternated skeins because this is hand dyed. Excuse me, by Suburban Stitcher, and she definitely recommends alternating skeins. And so I started, I wonder if you can tell. Okay, it is this leaf because I started just by alternating skeins, and I don't think you can tell in here. I can tell, but I really did a good job of repairing it. But what I found was that alternating skeins at the same spot every time I changed skeins in the row was creating really big gaps in my knitting, and I was very, very unhappy with how the rows were looking. I just had really stretched stitches, and it was not turning out how I wanted it to at all. And so I heard about a method called helical knitting or helix knitting, and this is one of those techniques that I've heard a lot about, but I really have put off doing it, and I don't know why. Because I finally sat down and watched a video about how it worked, and I felt so dumb because it's so easy and it creates a really nice effect, and it made it so that I could alternate these two skeins. You can't even tell at all that I alternate them. You can see the dog hair, but you can't even tell. Like when you compare it to the other sleeve, you can't tell that I alternated skeins at all. And this is even brighter than it normally is, and it's a little bit more cool than it actually is in real life. So yeah, the helical knitting was super easy to do. It was not a difficult process at all. It didn't slow me down at all. And it made it so that alternating skeins was not a big deal. So if I do another sweater, like another boxy sweater or something where I'm going to be alternating skeins, anything in the round where I need to alternate skeins, that's the technique I'm going to be using for sure. So that was exciting. So new sweater, new technique, just in time. This would be the week that we would be heading to Rhinebeck. If Rhinebeck was happening, I probably wouldn't be going this year because I am in my internship for my graduate program right now. So I probably wouldn't be going anyway, but I love that there's been lots of other ways to participate. There's the Not Rhinebeck photo challenge that Joanna Spring is doing, and then Christy Glass is still doing the Tell Me About Your Rhinebeck sweater video, and so I submitted this for that video, and it's just been nice to kind of have that camaraderie with everybody and lament a little bit that we don't have Rhinebeck to go to. So yeah, if we had Rhinebeck this week, this would definitely be my Rhinebeck sweater this year. So other projects, I am still working on the second Q shift blanket. This is a Knit Picks pattern, and I'm knitting mine out of Brava worsted, and I am on the fourth out of 4 sections. So this is the 4th section. I wonder if I adjust this, if this will look better. That's actually a little bit more accurate. So yeah, that's more accurate. Sorry about that. So this is the 4th section out of 4. This section uses all 10 colors, and I've already knit a section similar to this. It's very, very close to it. Also uses all 10 colors, but the colors are in a little bit different order. And so when I finish this one, I have that one more square, and then I have 2 more rows on the bottom to do. And then that section is done. I'm not going to pull out the other 3 because I'm going to save it for like a big reveal when this project is all finished. But it's really a great knit. My husband and my husband already watched all the way through, but I just started watching The Boys on HBO, I think, on Prime. It's really good. And it gets my knitting going very, very quickly between that and watching Schitt's Creek all the time. So, but I was a little bit worried. Oh, I should mention this project. I did take out 1 row. So the number of stitches that it tells you to cast on, I cast on 2 fewer because when I did this blanket the first time with like the turquoise and browns and grays, I actually ran out of yarn and had to order another skein of yarn of every color to get like 2 rows, which was so frustrating. I didn't gauge swatch. I don't even know what size needle it calls for. I know I knit mine on 5s. So what I did this time was I just got rid of 1 row to make sure that I would not run out of yarn. And this is how much I have left. I have finished at this point 2 of the colors. So I finished the green and then this turquoise color, and I'm almost done with this blue color. And so this is about how much I have left. So I feel like that was a good call to omit that 1 row. I'm a little bit nervous about the purple because I still have to get 2 more squares out of this. I think I can do it though, and I have to get 2 more squares out of the pink. So I don't think the pink will be a problem. I'm a little bit more nervous about the purple, but so those are well on their way. It's going to be beautiful. My daughter is very excited. She keeps stealing mine that I finished up and taking it and sleeping with it. So I think she's going to be really excited to have one of her own. So that is that project. Let me grab my socks real quick. I finished a pair of socks. Actually, I just finished it tonight. So I've been doing a lot of finishing lately. And this pair of socks is out of Knit Picks Felici in the colorway Summer Camp. Boston Jen knit these and has been posting them on Instagram. And I said, I need to pull mine out so we can twin. So I love these socks so much. With the light gray and dark, or light gray, medium gray, dark gray, like a hot pink, neon turquoise, and a neon green. And mine are always cuffed down, 60 stitches around. I do a tubular cast on with 15 rows of ribbing, and then I knit cuff down, and then I do the fish lips kiss heel, and then do a regular decrease for the toe. So this is my just go-to sock formula. I spend a lot of time in Zoom classes and listening to presentations and things like that. So this is what's helping me get through that part of life right now, and I love them. They're so cute. I have decided for a while for the time being, I'm not knitting a lot of socks out of any dyed yarn. I do have plans for a couple pairs coming up that I'll be keeping, but I think I mentioned on the last podcast, I have so many pairs of socks for myself. I don't have room for them anymore. And so I've been knitting pairs of socks to just give away. And this will be a pair that I give away probably at Christmas or something. And I don't want to send any dyed yarn to people to give away. And the reason why is because I've had, I think, 6 pairs of any dyed yarn felt. And most of the time it's pairs that have cashmere in it. And so that's kind of disappointing. And I don't want to give people socks and that's just with, I wash my socks by putting them on the hand wash cycle in my washing machine with cold water. And even that is too much. And I've had like 6 pairs of socks felt that way. I've had 2 pairs of hand spun socks as well felt, but all of the other pairs that have had cashmere, and then one of them that did not have cashmere, they all felted. So I've gotten to the point where I just buy less expensive yarn and yarn that I know will go through the washer and dryer to make a lot more of my socks recently so that I can just give it away when it's done. So that'll be one of these pairs for giving that away. I am working, I just said that though, and at the same time I am working on an indie dyed pair of socks, so I'll be keeping this one. This pair of socks, here's the first one. I'll show you the first one. This is the second pair of socks that I've knit out of this ball of yarn. And I did give my sister the first pair. See, I'm backtracking on everything I said. That sounds ridiculous, but I did give my sister the first pair of socks from this yarn, and it's because I know that this yarn can go through the washer and dryer just fine. This is some Hue Loco yarn. This part is in the colorway Yoga Mom. This was a sock set that is no longer available. And when I gave it to my sister, it came with the Yoga Mom, and then it came with, I think, a gray, I think, for the heel, or for the mini skein for the heels, toes, and cuffs. And I used up all the gray on her pair of socks, but I use about 42 grams of yarn when I knit. I want to say maybe not even that, maybe like 35 grams when I use alternating heels, toes, and cuffs. And so I had plenty to make a second pair. So this contrasting is Leading Men Fiber Arts in their BFL colorway. I used this originally or in their BFL base in, I don't know the colorway, but it's one of their navies. And I used this in my Modulancho. So I was just looking through my stash for a contrasting yarn for the heels, toes, and cuffs. And that's what I found. So here is, it's really pretty. I really do like this yarn a lot, and I like the name especially. I like the colorway, and I like the name. The name Yoga Mom. The guy who named it is a guy named Tristan that used to work at Hue Love Go, and he always came up with the best names for stuff, and this was one of them that he came up with. So I have the first sock done, and if I can find it, I always ball up my leftovers when I'm done, make like little mini balls when I'm done so I can give them away, and they're easier to use than oh, look at that. I actually haven't started the second one. That's really unusual for me. So I just found the needles. I have not started my second sock. I almost always, pretty much always, if I finish a sock, I'll start another one of that same pair right away, because if I don't, then it will never get done. So we'll see now when this one gets done. So I have one sock in that pair. It's a good reminder to start that second sock so that this one doesn't just get left languishing. So that is all of my knitting that I have been doing, mostly because this took a lot of work to get it finished, and that blanket is taking a long time. Those squares on the blanket each take about an hour, maybe a little bit less. So by the time I'm done with it, it has 100 squares on it. So that's almost 100 hours knitting that blanket. And then you do the border on the outside. So we'll see what I decide to do for the border on that one. But I have been doing some spinning. I'll show you, last time I showed you the start of this project, and I'm a little bit farther. I'm almost done with it, but I have these. You hear my kids laughing playing Mario. I have these 4 mini skeins done, and then I've also spun up the singles for the last mini skein. These are Yak and Silk from Greenwood Fiberworks in the gradient called Mallard, and I have about 100 yards of each of these, and so I'm expecting to have about the same as this. I tried to spin this pretty fine, and I do have plans for this when I'm all done. I just needed to, I finished spinning these singles, and I got excited and didn't want to let them rest without continuing to spin, so I started another project. So I just need to wait for, actually I could pop it on now because I popped the bobbin off to show you on my next project, but I just needed an open bobbin and an open wheel to ply these together really quick, which will take not very long, probably 45 minutes at the most, maybe an hour, and ply these together, and then I will have all 5 mini skeins and they'll be ready to go. And I'm planning on knitting these, I think, into a star shower cowl, or maybe like a triangle cowl. I'd rather do a cowl than a shawl because I think I want to give this away. And again, it's always interesting, like thinking about what will somebody else do with this? How will they take care of it, and how will they wear it, and will they be able to style it? And I feel like a cowl is much easier for non-knitters to style than a shawl. So that is my project for that. My computer keeps getting dark. I want to make sure it doesn't just zero out. So it's a fun little project I have going there. So that's almost done. It's It's so close. I should just sit down and finish it. But I got sidetracked because I wanted to start this, and I'm very excited about this. Let's see if this color shows up. Oh yeah, that's actually really good. It's kind of blowing out the bobbin, but I'm okay with that. So this is a skein that is coming from fiber, that comes from this fiber from Malabrigo Noob. I don't remember the colorway name. It started with a P. But this is just kind of a crazy fall colorway. And it's turning into this gorgeous singles. So it's mostly purples and oranges with some blues, a little bit of greens, some gray, some really dark like navy, a tiny bit of green, just kind of all over the place. It's so much fun, and it's so fun to spin, and I am spinning it really fine. Let me see how close we can get this. So I'm spinning this really, really fine because I've decided to do this as a 3-ply combo spin. So I just have the one braid of that, and I'm going to pair it with this. This is some Into the World Polworth in the colorway Rhinebeck. I might need to take it out of the bag, which it will probably never get back in, but I'll take it out. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. I bought this at the Loopy U. I wanted to buy it at Rhinebeck and I didn't, and then I really regretted it. So look at this. Oh my gosh. It's going to be so beautiful. So we have this, and then I have another another braid. And this is going to really add a lot of depth, I think. This is from Jinx Yarn. In her colorway Cavern, and it's some Falkland. It's not superwash. I'm not planning on treating it like a superwash. And it's this. So lots of purples and some browns and a little bit of orange. So I feel like, first of all, these two together. And then paired with this. So it's going to be like this crazy fall palette, but with how fine I'm spinning it and how much fiber I'm putting into it, it's going to be a huge project, and I'm so excited about that because I think I want to knit something like a bolting by Stephen West. I've knit one of those before, and I feel like this would make the most epic bolting in my collection. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be so cool. I'm hoping that the purple and the oranges and the yellows don't just make a brown mud, but I also kind of don't really care if they do because it's more of like a warm rustic. Like they're all still in the same color families, you know. They all still, I think, are going to go together beautifully. So this is where we're at. This project is going to be epic. It's going to be so good. So I'm about almost half. I'd say I'm almost halfway done with the first one of the 3. So that is that spinning project. Excuse me. So I think it's going to be an adventure, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. I love spinning this fine. I love being this intentional about my projects. And honestly, I think that's it. I think that's all I have. I'm about to start something new, but I'm not going to show it right now. I'm going to leave the rest of the Hue Shift blanket. I'll show it to you when it's done. Because the next time, I'm trying to make it so that I at least have something done before I decide to record again. So that and the spinning the yak project are probably going to be done next time I record, and I'll have started something new. So and I'll probably have picked up a sweater that I'm working on. So anyway, I hope you all are well. I hope you all are staying very healthy. And making great choices, whatever those may be, for yourself and for your family, for your physical health and for your mental health. And um, it is Mental Health Awareness Week. And as a recent health or mental health care worker, I just want you to know that I'm thinking about all of you who are struggling right now in the middle of this pandemic and all the craziness that's going on. So um, I'm going to just sign off and say happy knitting.